Guys, thanks for coming today. Today we are business strategy goal planning for 2022. Starting off the new year knowing what you need before we get halfway through, and we're adjusting production in the middle of the year. Everybody have the worksheet? So we have a home inspector with us. So we're going to do 2 sets of math on this one. The standard worksheet is basically, we're going to start with target take-home income. So how much do you want to make? How much do you want to make after taxes is that number. So I did a math at 100,000 for income. So in that first box, and then dead center of the page above that is the estimated tax rate. I used 30%. Tax bracket's probably higher than that, but you're gonna have deductions, write-off, mileage, everything else, so you're more effective. I'm not a CPA by no means, but if I was to do just rough math at 100,000, you're probably 30% give or take. So into a decimal is 0.3. So if you take 1.3, which is the original 100, times the 1.3 will give you how much you need. So if your goal is to make 80,000, you'll just do 80,000 times 1.3. If your goal is 300,000, you'll take 300,000 times. In a tax bracket like that, you're probably better to do a 0.35 or 0.38 or even a 0.4. Are you caught up on this, Kathy? No.
I was doing the other.
You want to do this later, you and I?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, we can later this afternoon. We can just do one-on-one and go through your numbers.
Okay.
So whatever you want to take home after taxes times 1.3, 1.35, 1.4, 1.25, whatever you think your tax bracket is how much you need to make. So if you want to bring home 100, tax bracket's 30%, you need to make 130 gross before Uncle Sam. So average sales price, Victor, what do you think your average sales price is?
300.
300, okay. So you'll just take your little calculator and do whatever your second number is, the bigger one. No, I'm sorry, I got ahead. And all your listings and sales are usually 3%, correct?
Right.
So you'll take your 300,000 times 3% gives you a gross commission before split of 9 grand. And you're on a system where you don't have a split, you just have per file,
Right.
correct? So we're on that, we're gonna skip the next section. So at 300 at 9,000, so whatever was in your box here, so 130, you're gonna put down in the very bottom section. So the 130,000, so you followed my numbers basically. 100,000 income, 130 before taxes, 130,000 taxable income, divide that by 9,000. So 130,000 divided by 9,000, you need 14 deals, 14.4 deals. So 14 plus or minus. And then if we go one step farther, divide that by, actually, we need to back up on yours. We need to take the 9,000 minus how much JPAR takes, which is what, 575 now? So your revenue's not, so your revenue's not 9,000, it's 9,000 minus 575 is 8425. So cross out, so 8425, 8425 there. So on average, you're bringing home, before you pay Uncle Sam, $8,425.
Right.
Unless you buy a Porsche this year to offset the cost. think red's your color.
Victor's in a red Porsche.
Definitely red.
So we do this, I can do it for you real quick. 130 divided by 84.25, is that right?
Yeah.
We're at 15.4 deals, so 16 deals, roughly. Divide that by 12, you're about 1.3 deals a month. And if we do 16 divided by 52, which is 52 weeks in a year, is 0.3. So you need a deal every 3 weeks to close, on average. So that's drilling it down into. So if you're 20 weeks into the year, 20 divided by 3 is 6.6 deals. So you should have 6 to close deals 20 weeks into the year. So you can actually set up a chart or some way to track this to see, we know our summer months are busier, but it allows you to know that, hey, we need to make up some ground come June, July, and August.
Right.
So Parker, on yours, I'll just do the same 100 for income and the same 130. You can do it however you want on your paper.
Mm-hmm.
And you're a lot simpler. You're just doing home inspections. You don't have a lot of cost, or you're not splitting that or anything, correct?
Mm-hmm.
What is your average home inspection?
$350.
Okay, so 350. So we just take 130 divided by 350. Gives us 371 home inspections. So you need one a day.
Yeah.
So 7 a week, 30 a month, or you need to charge more.
Well, yeah. 350 is a little conservative on the number.
Okay.
But that's the way
What's the most you ever charge?
well, I mean, it's all square foot, depends on the square
Okay.
footage, but I mean, I would say
So it ranges from what?
our average over 250 inspections this year was around 415 or something like
Okay.
that when I did all of our numbers. But
So if we divide by 400, now you're at 325. So you need 300 give or take. What's the most you've ever done in a day?
in a day, 3. I don't
Okay.
like to do 3.
Okay,
I
so
mean,
2.
Yeah, 2's the goal's to have 2 a day. Yeah.
So you're needing, really you're only needing 5 to 6, is that right? If we're doing based off of 400, if we're doing 325, divide that by 52, you need 6 a week at $400. So you need 1 a day, Monday through Friday, and 1 day you need to do 2.
Mm-hmm. Which hopefully the goal for me is to do 2 a day.
2 a day for 3 or 4 days, and then
5 days a
5
week.
days a week, okay.
Yeah, that's, I mean,
So, any questions on the numbers?
The numbers are the easy part.
It is the easy part.
right.
But if, it is the easy part, but if you don't start it off with knowing your numbers,
Right.
How hard you gotta work.
correct. Well, that leads into the next part of it is like, what do you have to do to get there? So the easiest for me is, what did we do last year? You did 20 deals last year. Where did they come from? Or you did 10 deals last year and you're trying to do 15 this year. Or you did 15 and you're trying to do 15 again. Like, where did your last year's numbers come from?
Realtor.com is.
Correct, so we have to replace that. So if you were doing some leads, I know Realtor.com pulled away and they're doing Op City now, so unless you're doing a 60-40 split, plus what your
Op City.
brokerage takes, that's not valid anymore. So that's a good question. So you said you don't know where all yours came from.
I'm looking, the first 5. Well, I've got,
So let's start with just types, not numbers, but, so, paid for leads. And then past clients, okay? And these are people that
They
used
said,
you 4 years ago and they were ready to sell and buy a new home.
right, or they decided, hey, it's up now, like, you know, like Chelsea Ludy, who we can sell
Correct.
that, I can give that
Okay.
house away.
Yeah.
But then.
3 years ago, yes, nobody would buy it, and this year it sold in 3 days.
Yeah, with 20 grand over.
So past clients, and then what, just your
For
circle?
sell by owners,
FISBO.
referrals,
So your circle, your,
and then just people that I just called, like I called, like people I called off Facebook, like,
Social media
Mhm.
connections.
it's actually those buy, sell, or trade sites. I just look and see someone, you know, I had, a lot of those came from the past clients, like Carrie, but then he ended up giving me more clients like this year.
so Carrie's an investor, right?
Yeah. For whatever I get, he likes me a lot, so maybe it's because I buy him bourbon.
That'll do it.
Because I had one that was a holdover from last year because it's an old commercial property and it was in this trust. And Kerry has basically 2 clients that are larger that he's like said, hey, why don't you list all this? So I'm on the second person that has a family trust that I'm listing properties for. And it didn't, I couldn't get a clean title on it because Wells Fargo, it had a lien on it, but that had been paid years ago, and Wells Fargo, the bank that had the lien didn't do the release of lien 20 years ago, or 18, or however, it's not the cutoff date for it, whatever that was. And then that bank went out of business. Well, Wells Fargo bought them. So Wells Fargo has all their releases information. I contracted in October and we are still trying to get the lease. So the buyer decided, talk to the title company, lien or release or not, we're gonna go ahead and close. So,
Crazy customers.
crazy customers.
So, am I missing anything from you? Leads you paid for, past clients, for sell by owners, your circle, referrals from your circle, buy, sell, or trade. These are Facebook, right?
Yep.
Okay, so I'll put Facebook. And then an investor, or investors.
Sometimes I just drive around and see something. But I guess that counts for the FISBO.
FISBOs, yeah. So you're not actively even looking on the internet for them. So that's
Yeah.
one you could really step up your game with. Victor, anything that we haven't covered that you've got?
Does family, friends fall under your circle?
Yeah, I would think so.
Open
Family,
houses?
friends. What's that?
Doing open houses?
Oh, love it. So that's, I think, one of the easiest to forget. Parker, you're not a realtor. But what if you sat in open houses and other realtors came in and you could introduce yourself and give a spiel? It's not fun, but for 2 hours, like, find a good realtor that is referring you. Say, hey, let's team up and let's do some open houses. Like, I can't do them twice a weekend, 4 weeks a month, but a lot of realtors don't like to sit by themselves. Safety reasons, they get bored, like maybe they just need a little push out there, whatever it is. If you got a few realtors, let me help you grow your business, and in turn, you refer other realtors to me, and so that's something you could
Yeah.
thinking outside the box.
Also pick up clients with just wearing a shirt with your logo, and then when the buyers come in, you could, after they talk to the realtor, you could hand your cards out and say, you know, I know you're in the market to buy a home. I'd love to be your inspector.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because a lot of
What
them don't
what do we
have
call
that.
that? Because you're the best of anybody I've ever known. You're the best at that. Sitting at Chili's, the lady next to you, strike a conversation. She's in the process of moving. Have you listed your house yet? Like, I've heard those stories a dozen times, if not 100 times. The shoe store, you picked up a client in the shoe department at Belk or somewhere in Weatherford. Like, what do you call that? Because that is a strategy.
It's a thing.
That is a thing.
Talking,
Meet and greet,
I guess.
like talking to strangers.
I talk to strangers.
I see dead people.
Elevator speech.
Well, I go get my blood drawn, and the girl was drawing my blood. She asked me what it is, so I started talking to her, and she started talking about she wanted to move. So, and then I went to go get my eyes checked, and the girl at the office we started talking about it, and I just.
I have a question for agents.
Yeah.
Open houses, so Sunday I went to Sam's and bought Starbucks coffee bottles. And,
Like the little frappuccino things. Okay.
and I passed them out at open houses Sunday. I went to 6 of them. Gave them to the agents that were hosting the
Wow.
open house. Worked out well, got some good emails back from them.
That would be impressive.
And so that's definitely part of my marketing strategy. But when I go to these houses, like whoever is listing this house for sale, it's never that agent that's in there giving the open house.
No.
Or
You know-
doing the open house.
you know
Can
why?
explain that to me?
Do you know why? Someone doing 20 transactions a year that have 4 listings, 6, 8, 10 listings a year, they don't have to. Like we did the math. What was your math, Victor? Make 100 grand a year after taxes, and you got to do 15 deals.
Yeah, 16
So if
deals.
you get 6 or 8 listings a year, he's making 100 grand. He doesn't have to. So what you find is somebody that knows Victor has no business, or Victor's like a client that the house is set on the market for a few weeks. He's getting nervous. Maybe the house is overpriced or it's got some issues, and Victor wants to hold an open house for the listing for the sellers. So he puts it out on Facebook or calls some of the people or messages, hey, you want to do an open house? I got a new listing in Saginaw.
So other agents would
Correct.
go there.
One of the big, and there's a lot of smoke and mirrors, I'll be honest with you, which is kind of part of the part I struggle with. But there's a lot of smoke and mirrors that sellers think that they're going to sell their house in an open house. And the long and short of it is we hold open houses to get buyer leads.
Gotcha.
We do, but I've done it before. On like,
And you
it's
have a
probably
chance to
like
get-
once
It's
in a
rare.
million. I had a lady that came
It's
in.
like a 1%
but
chance
it
that whoever comes
And
to
it
an open
depends
house.
on the area of the house. Like, I've got one that I would hold open, but it's in the boonies. Nobody's gonna come.
Right.
I held one open in Boyd or in Paradise, in the middle of Paradise, and I still couldn't get anybody to come. I sat there by myself.
What do you do to put that out there, that there's an open house?
I put it on MLS
Yeah.
for about a week beforehand.
Which cycles down to Zillow and Realtor.com.
And then
But it-
filter the search settings to show only open houses
And then excuse me, you can share on the MLS, you can go and, there'll be a link and it'll say share and then you can click on it.
Mhm.
You can click on it, put it on your Facebook, and then you click down and you're gonna share it, and it'll say share to, and you can share it to other pages. So I usually do that and I put it on the buy seller trades. A lot of the buy seller trades now are not letting you share that.
Yeah.
But then I'll share it on my Facebook, and then there's a couple of other ones. If it's not a buy seller trade, if it's just an information one, you can put it on there, and you put it out like that. The last for sale by owner, I went to Bowie because another one was another real estate agent called me and said, hey, will you take this person and do a split with me? I've had that happen twice this past year.
But how do you duplicate that?
You don't, because they just
Okay.
call me. But they called me because they saw, and I think one of the
So we
things.
can put that in a bucket, but it's not duplicatable, and this is all about what can we put our efforts into in the next 12 months to make our net income that we
Right.
want to make.
One of the things that's important to do though is and I haven't done it, is to go and update your realtor. You have all the
All those
Zillow,
profiles, Zillows, and-
Realtor.com, you all have profiles. And you need to update with a better picture, update with your real information, because and that girl called me from, she said, oh, I'm looking for a Walker agent. And I said, I don't work for Walker anymore. She said, I don't care, you answered your phone. I said,
Oh.
let's get it.
Can we add that to the list? Like, it sounds silly, but answer your phone.
Yeah.